give you the mighty van-halen!
Oh, look at all the people here tonight!
It is now officially 51-50
You ever speak to me like that again, better be wearing a cup.
Baby steps.
One break, I'm in
Okay, friends, let's everybody take your positions, please. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, rolling. Dave!
And
Dave!
Unchained.
welcome to Dave and Dave Unchained, a Van Halen podcast. I'm Dave.
And I am sequestered, isolated Dave.
Oh boy, I think we're all sequestered, isolated Dave this month. Wow.
I think so. Social distancing has taken over.
My God, unbelievable how things have changed in one podcast.
Right? Tell me about it.
Wow, well, we have lots to get to. This is episode number 51. So one of our listeners actually said we should do 51 episode first and then do our 50th episode, so it would be 5150.
Yeah, very clever.
Exactly. We got lots of Van Halen news to get to, so let's take off.
Van Halen.
Well, Dave, David Lee Roth had an interview with the Star Tribune, and there were some interesting things that came out of this interview. He really was very forthright in addressing a lot of different issues, or skimmed through it just to get out the jewels, you know what I'm saying? Addressing whether this was his last tour or not. He said, "It's the last tour unless it isn't. At my age, everything's a possible farewell tour." Which is, I think, the best response to that question to an aging rock star I've ever heard. Everybody in their right mind is on a farewell tour right now. And the farewell tour lasts forever. It is absolutely hysterical. Deep Purple said they're on a farewell tour like 3 years ago. And now they're releasing a new album. Unbelievable.
Look who Dave is opening up for. I mean, the king of the farewell tours,
please.
right?
Absolutely. I mean, Kiss is celebrating the 20th anniversary of their farewell tour.
But I do agree with you that his answer is a very fair answer.
It is the best response I've ever heard to that question, because every aging rock star or older band has experienced this question. All of them. And Mick gets it every time the Stones come out. Is this the last tour? And I don't think the Stones will ever announce a last tour. I personally think that they will just end when they end and you won't even know what the last show was. Whereas, you know, Kiss is now in their second year of their farewell tour, their second farewell tour, which was 20 years after their first farewell tour. It's unbelievable. But that was the best response, which is great. Another thing he addressed, which I have never heard him address, is his voice. Now, we all know Dave has got a lot of criticisms about his voice, the quality of his voice on the Van Halen 2015 live album, Live from the Tokyo Dome. We've gotten criticism from that tour, from all the past Van Halen tours, the Vegas shows. Everybody's ripping this guy's ass about his voice, and he addressed it right here. And another frank response: "I've never had any delusions about my voice. It sounds like 4 miles of flat road with knobby tires. Mom used to say that. In fact, she said it last week." He doesn't care, this guy. Then he goes on, and he says, "However, some people's definition of perfect vocals might be pristine and pretty, like Adam Lambert. My definition of absolutely the best vocal in the last 20 years is, you got what I need. When you say she's just a friend, and you say she's just a friend, oh, baby, you," which is Biz Markie. And he actually sang that song for the reporter, which I think is hysterical. I mean, it's unbelievable. This guy's like Teflon Don over here. Nothing can penetrate this guy.
It's nice to see he's setting the bar low.
Absolutely. Then he said they came even deeper about the Van Halen reunion. He said, we waited 5 years, and now it's time to shine, which is pretty frank. And then when they asked him directly about Eddie, he said, you know what I know. And when the guy pressed a little more, and I give him a lot of credit for doing so, he said, Ed, God bless him, may have a fair amount of time ahead of him, but going on the road is an unforgiving task. It kills people. Now, I'm going to stop here for a second before we go on. I think that comment says it all, in the sense that I think Ed probably will live and be fine, but I don't think he can tour anymore. All of these little pieces, all these little crumbs have led me to believe that Ed can't tour anymore.
I mean, touring, I've never toured, so I would know. But from everything I've read, a national tour, it's very unforgiving. It's a young person's game. And if you're not up to it, then you shouldn't do it. He could just be going to 5150 and playing there every day and be perfectly happy doing that.
Agreed. But don't you think you'd even hear a little bit about that?
No.
I don't know.
No, he's very private. From all accounts, it was all anyone could do to get him to go on the last tour. And he was physically fine to do the last tour. He just really didn't want to. So maybe now that, he's got better things to live for, he's like, you know what? I'm not busting my ass. That's not how I'm spending the rest of my life touring. Been there, done that. I'm done.
Now, when they asked him about Van Halen, he basically put it to bed. He says, it's been a long, great trip, a long, great run. But this kind of music requires the kind of energy that people in their 20s bring. You know what NFL stands for? Not for long. It's similar in rock. Another unbelievable quote. This guy's unbelievable. Now, I give this writer credit because he kept pounding away on him. All these questions that we would ask, interesting stuff here. Then he asked him about the 1985 breakup, which I thought was great. And Dave brushed it off. He said, that's passé. I'm past that. It's like antique battles ringing off my ears. Van Halen reformed since then, and we had ourselves a glorious time, and I wish Ed the best now. As far as old feuds, is Trump still fighting with Rosie O'Donnell? That was a colorful one. I dug that. He's unreal. I tell you, he's always entertaining.
He's starting to go into Bozy Bop land.
I don't think that's Bozy Bop land. I think that's
a little
interesting.
Bozy.
All right.
Little Bozy.
All right. So what did you make of these comments, Dave? What, you didn't think there was some truth in there?
Like you said, I give the writer a lot of credit for asking the right question. More than usual, Dave gave enough of the truth with memorable quotes.
Right.
And didn't go off a tangent too much.
Right.
Which is pretty good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you got some meat on that bone without too much of the outside icing, for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we alluded to this in our last Van Halen news because it was sort of late in the process, but I figured I'd bring it up again because we haven't talked about it, which is obviously Wolf has signed a record deal. Wolfgang Van Halen, the bassist for the band, has signed a record deal with Explorer One Music for his solo album. And there was a picture of him with the CEO, Paul Woollenoy. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Interesting enough, I reached out to this guy. I tried to get him to come on the pod. Wasn't successful. Possibly in the future. He just said, not right now. Now, they're apparently, he said, in the final stages of recording with producer Michael Elvis Biscuit at 5150 Studios. Apparently, it's diverse material from haunting ballads to stomping rock classics, and all the vocals and all the instruments are done by Wolfie. He wrote everything, and there's no title, and there's no date. So, who knows?
But I give you full credit because I think it was on the last podcast, or maybe the one before that, you had said he's still recording, or he's re-recording.
Well, no, what I said was,
whatever.
Well, originally we reported that Wolf had said himself that the record was done, it was mastered, and it was ready to go. That was a while ago. That was like in the summer of, I don't know, when was that? The summer of...
That was almost like 2 years ago or something right?
Dave, I think it was July of 2018. I think so. I don't remember. Yeah, we're going on 2 years. And then the last time we discussed it, I said, I bet you this guy started writing new songs at this point because, I mean, you know, he's been working on this thing for eons. I mean, a really long time, which is... You know, it's his debut, and I get it, but, like, I bet you he started recording again or something. It's unbelievable.
Well, I just wanted to give you credit, because I know you don't hear me say, Dave, you were right too often.
Well, I appreciate that. We'll have to save that and laminate it. So anyway, speaking of Wolf, Mr. Wolf turned 29. Happy birthday to Wolfgang Van Halen. He's the only man who can be in Van Halen for 13 years and still be in his 20s. That is magical, if you think about it. Eddie Van Halen tweeted a picture of Wolf, who came right out of the womb. It was like a picture, a birthing picture. And he said, the best day of my life. Happy birthday, Wolf. I love you so much. You're Pop. And Wolf responded, hot damn, I am fresh in this pic. Haha, love you so much, Pop. So obviously they have a nice relationship. That's obviously very clear. Wolfie's 29, Dave, if you can believe it. And you remember when he was born?
Yeah, March 16th, 1991.
316. I want to make sure somebody knows that we're saying 316. Okay. We'll leave it at that. Okay, so we all know about the coronavirus. We're all fucking quarantined and all the shit that's been going down. Well, what did this cause? Well, David Lee Roth on the Kiss tour, it's been postponed, okay? And David Lee Roth's residency at the House of Blues at Mandalay Bay postponed. So, wow. What can I say? Their last date that they did was the 10th of March at Lubbock, Texas. And our poor friend Greg Renoff, Dave, was all ready to go see him. And the night they canceled the tour, it's the night Greg was going. So I feel bad for Greg. We reach out to him and say, sorry, buddy, that must have sucked real hard. And ready for this? They canceled the show hours before it was going to go on. Like 6 hours before it was going to go on. Unreal.
I know. I remember I was reading on VH Links, and people who were supposed to be going to that show were asking if it was still on or not.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So now, interesting thing enough here, I just wanted to give you a little update on the tour. So they've been doing a solid 11-song set list. Okay. The last time we talked about this, I reported on going to see them in Pennsylvania. And I reported the set list, everything. It's all the same, except he did one change, and it wasn't Yankee Rose. Yankee Rose never appeared. Amazing. He took out California Girls and put in Beautiful Girls. Interesting enough. I was actually surprised that was one that he would take out, because that technically, charting-wise, is his biggest hit.
That is a surprise
that
he took that out.
It's a big song. That's an anthem. Everybody in the world knows that song. It's actually an easy song to sing. And for some reason, he decided to put in Beautiful Girls instead. But he switched that out. Other than that, everything was normal. It was You Really Got Me, Jamie's Crying, he talked about Love, Jump, Panama, Just a Gigolo, Just Like Paradise, Panama, Tobacco Road, and Running with the Devil. So another thing I thought that was kind of interesting was Forbes, which is more of a financial, political magazine, did a review of the show and gave Dave a glowing review. He says here, Roth, with his trademark high kick still going at 65, showed why he is still one of rock's all-time great frontmen. When was the last time you saw the entire arena on their feet for the whole set for the opening act? Exactly. Dave has been getting rave reviews from the Kiss set. Unbelievable. It's amazing. Some people even said he was better than Kiss. I mean, unreal.
Wow.
Unreal. And he seems to be having a ball on that tour. I mean, unfortunately, it's stopped now, but he looked like he was having a blast. He had about like a solid month run with Kiss, and I'm sure they'll pick back up. And you know who came to the show, Dave? Steve Vai went to see David Lee Roth at the Staples Center. And he gave almost like a mini review online. And he said it was great to see Dave Roth and his band. Did a powerful set. He said the band was exceptionally tight. Dave looked and sounded great. And then he noted that it was better than the Vegas videos, he said. And he said that was kind of unfair to judge those videos, that they're not a good judge of the sound. And he said he delivered like a boss. and the audience loved it. And then he also raved about Kiss and how nostalgic it was.